Welcome to the Too Inquisitive podcast.
You're too inquisitive.
First of all, thank you for being here. This is the first episode of the Too Inquisitive podcast, and I'm grateful you even decided to take a listen. Our first guest is a young lady who is multi-talented, bilingual, one of the BVI's most sought-after models, and a former Miss BVI. She also happens to be a very close friend of mine that I've known for about 4 years. I present to you Miss Yadali. Alright, so you were a former Miss BVI, or was it Miss World BVI? I always get the two of them confused.
Yeah, well, one is Miss World BVI and one is Miss Universe BVI. So I was Miss World BVI.
Miss World BVI, and that was 2018?
Yeah, look how time flies.
Yeah, it does. So before we get into that kind of stuff, I wanted to start at the beginning and talk about when I first met you.
You remember?
Oh, of course I do.
I remember a different episode.
I met you the first time, you came to Anegado, and I think you were on a field trip mentoring some kids or something.
Yes, I remember that.
I think I met you through Rolia.
That's definitely what.
Yeah, so she, Dana, and
Kimani.
Yeah, so the three of them came over, and I took them on a scooter tour because my stepfather was renting scooters at the time. And then you couldn't join us because you were with the kids, obviously. But I think we did see you a few times during the day, and then we finally got to officially be introduced more towards the end of the day.
Like by the time we had to take back the boat.
Yeah, like right before, and I got to spend like a couple of minutes with you. I think something to that effect.
I don't remember exactly what happened, but I can picture seeing you by the dock.
Yeah, I know we had definitely brought back the scooters, and it was a fun day because I got to teach the girls how to ride bikes for the first time.
I was surprised they could ride. You did a good job.
Well, yeah, I'm a great teacher, you know. Well, it was a fun day, but I know I really wanted to meet you at that time because I think the only time I saw you before was like on Rolia's Snap, and I kept telling her like you're so pretty, and like I had like this little crush on you.
Oh my God, you don't know, but she did tell me about you, and I met you virtually through Rolia. Like I think I saw you virtually, and she showed me probably like a picture, and she said, "This is my friend," and that's before we had actually met in person.
Well, good on to her. She sounds like an excellent wingman. I might need her in the future again.
Yes, she is.
So then, the thing that stood out to me the most that day when we did officially meet is you had a little bottle of honey with you. And you was eating the honey straight from the bottle. So I want to talk about that.
Oh my God.
Do you still like honey that much, or has that changed?
Wow. It's so funny because I was just eating some leftover rice and like some sausage, struggle food.
You talking about like just now?
Yeah, just now. And something was missing. Something was missing, and you wouldn't believe what it was.
It was the honey.
Yeah, so I just mixed it up with some ketchup. So I'm gonna give you my secret ingredient just for you to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So ketchup, honey, I think like some cilantro and salt mixed to perfection. Mwah, just try it.
And you said that was with rice and sausage?
Yes.
That's a crazy mixture. So that means you still do love the honey then?
Oh yes, I do know. And as a matter of fact, in Miss World, because I did go to China for the competition, and I made some really good friends. The the miss from New Zealand, she gave me a New Zealand honey, and that's the most beautiful thing I've ever tasted.
So I remember also, I think it was the night, I think we went to the movies, I think it was.
I don't remember that.
We went to go see some movie at UP's. I don't remember what the movie was. I was more interested in talking to you and getting to know you rather than the movie. But I think you had like your nephew or somebody with you also.
A little boy?
Yeah, a little boy was with us also. Yeah, so likely. I remember I had just came back from England and I brought you some honey that I got in England.
Yes. You know, I didn't finish it.
You didn't? So what happened to it?
Some months ago, I thought back about it and I was like, where's my honey? I honestly, I don't know if Oma gone with it. Hopefully not. I don't know. But I really loved it, and I used to eat it with most of my snacks.
That's great. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So I have a question. Okay, so I would assume when you were in China, you probably got some kind of Chinese honey or something like that too, right?
No, the only honey I got was the New Zealand honey.
Wow, I'm surprised that you didn't try any honey from China. But
no, I couldn't.
So seeing as you have had honey from the regular honey that we get here at the BVI supermarkets, obviously, you've had honey from England and you've had honey from New Zealand. You're also originally from the Dominican Republic, so I would assume you've had honey from there also.
Yes. They do have like a honey. I don't know if to call it a market because we get local honey from there.
Okay, great.
So that's the first honey I ever tasted. And actually, I've had from New Jersey as well because I went by Rolia last year. And
oh, nice.
Her uncles grow the honey in their backyard. So that's the first time I actually drew honey from the honeycomb. That was an exciting something.
So when you did that, it had like all like the bees and stuff around, or
no? They had already took the comb out, or broken it off. So it was in a bowl, but it still had like the hexagonal structure. Okay. I don't know what you call it.
Like the comb looking thing, yeah. Mm-hmm. So you got to try like the raw honey straight from the comb.
Raw, yeah, that was so natural.
I think I've tried that once before also, but I don't remember where. But so you've had the honey that we get in the supermarket at the BVI. You've had local honey from the Dominican Republic.
Yes, local Caribbean honey.
Local Caribbean honey. You've had the raw honey straight from the comb in New Jersey.
Yes.
You've had honey from England that I brought you.
No, and the detail about the honey you brought me, it was like a specific purple flower.
Yeah, it was a special honey.
Yeah.
And then you've had the honey from New Zealand. So my question is, seeing that you've basically had so much different international types of honey, do they all have like a specific different taste, or is like honey just honey?
Even though I love honey so much, I'm not necessarily a honey connoisseur, so I can't tell you. But the biggest difference was the one from New Zealand. It was a very thick honey, very thick and very creamy, as opposed to like honey is already thick and you feel that caramelly, But the one from New Zealand was thick and it was like a cream, like that cream what you might put on your skin.
Interesting. Okay, so which one was your favorite?
I just love honey.
Love honey.
Really just do, yeah.
So okay, how did that love for honey start? Did it start like when like you were like a little child or something, or how did that come about?
That's just to me it's just a Caribbean thing that when you're sick and you get the lime and the honey. Mm-hmm. So I used to eat the honey and the lime in other times, not just when I was sick, I guess. Like when you have a cold, you got the lime and the honey, but I used to do it all the time.
Yeah, fair enough. I get that. That's true. My mother would she would make that too, like the lime and the honey. But like for me, it was opposite. Like I would always like rather just like the lime by itself rather than with the honey.
Yikes!
Yeah, cause like me, I think my palate prefers like more sour, salty stuff versus the sweetness.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, sure.
I know you've been to the UK. Have you been there like when it's cold?
Well, the UK is pretty much always cold, to be honest. But when I did go, it was during the summer.
But it was cool, I guess.
Oh, it was cold. It was like what they call in the UK good summer weather. To us is like November, stormy, rainy. Like when I was in the UK for 1 month, right? Like a little over a month actually. And we started in London, which is more south. And then like every week we would go to a different city. So we would like every 2-3 days we would hop on a train and head more and more north until we got to the very North Shore. So I pretty much saw all of England. And in that month, I could probably say I only saw the sun 7 times.
And it was summer.
So much. And it was summer. It was August.
Oh. But do you like it though? Do you like the cold?
Oh yeah, I prefer being cold rather than being hot.
So I hope I'm not really just talking nonsense, right? But it's something that I came to absorb.
Mm-hmm.
Like my nephew, the same little boy I went to the movies with, he's in the UK, and he loves to eat the raw lemon. That's why I asked.
Oh, also like you like putting the connection together, like.
Yeah, is this like a cold weather thing?
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Because like I was born in Toronto, and Toronto is very cold also because, Canada's cold. So maybe. I don't know. I'll have to like Google that and do some sort of research on that.
Children eating lemon, and I'm like, why in the world would you want to eat a lemon?
I don't know. Like I always just like savory stuff, sour stuff, salty stuff. Like I do this weird thing. My friends think I'm super weird for it. Most people might think I'm weird for it. But like say like me and my friends, we get together, we grilling some stuff and like we season the food or whatever. I would like take like a little bit of the seasoning and pour it in my hand and I'll just like pick away at that seasoning and eat that by itself while the food is cooking.
Oh, you need to watch that.
I know it's like super bad for you because like the sodium, the salt and stuff, high blood pressure and stuff. But like I just like that flavor, like the salty flavor. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side, like I have like my moods. So like today, I might want like just strictly salty stuff. But then tomorrow, I'll like wake up and eat ice cream for breakfast.
Wouldn't she? Oh my god.
But I think like I tie that to my childhood because like my mother was one of those mothers, like, if I, like, asked for ice cream and stuff, like, it had to be, like, on special occasions for me to have, like, ice cream and candy and all those sorts of stuff. So I was one of those kids that would say, like, when I grow up, I can just eat ice cream all day, every day. I can eat as much ice cream as I want. Because I'm a grown-up, so I could do what I want. And I think most people say that as children. But for me, I went through with it. Like when I got older, like there are days I'll just wake up and I'll just eat nothing but ice cream or I'll eat nothing but junk. But then other days I'll want like cooked food and proper food and stuff. But like it just like all depends on like my mood.
Can you cook?
Oh yes, I do. Actually, I could have cooked before because I've been living on my own since I was 18, so I had to survive somehow. But during this whole Corona pandemic stuff, it made me into like a real chef. Like I always like say, I have this saying that like Gordon Ramsay ain't got not me right now because like I was able, since like we were on lockdown, I was able to like really, like I had nothing to do but cook. So I would like experiment with stuff that I never did before.
I feel you on that.
I think my cooking skills have grown way bigger than what they used to be. And recently I started baking too. So I don't know if you saw my post, but like I started making like bread from scratch and that kind of stuff.
Is that on YouTube?
No, I haven't posted a video on YouTube yet. I'm trying to perfect my recipe first.
Okay. Well, the same thing happened for me, because I could cook before, but it's like, maybe on the weekend thing when you're home,
Mm-hmm.
but not on an everyday basis. Because when I'm hungry every day, I just go to, your mama's or John Black or something.
Yeah, I feel
But now, you don't have no choice. So even some days your fridge will be full, some days you might only have flour. So it's like, that's when you get creative.
it's true.
Yeah, like I've learned to make, this might sound embarrassing, but I've learned to make pancakes from scratch. That's something that I never thought I would do because I didn't have the need for it.
That's not embarrassing at all, actually.
It is, because it's like, it's so easy. It should be like a basic life skill.
Ask majority of your friends if they can make pancake from scratch without using box mix. And I guarantee you most of them can't.
I promise you, I prefer making it from scratch.
Oh yeah,
like,
pancakes are way better from scratch than box mix for sure.
Yeah, and it's just something that the pandemic taught me. So from the beginning of the pandemic, it was very scary.
Mm-hmm.
But now going through it, and rest in peace all the people that have died.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to bloom wherever you're planted. You have to just see the good in every situation.
Yeah, I feel you. But before I get more into the pandemic, talking about pancakes, if you want, I could send you my grandma's recipe for pancakes. They're really thick pancakes, not really the thin ones, but they're nice and fluffy, and the flavor of them, to me, like, they're my favorite pancakes.
Oh my god. I got to taste good.
Yeah, they do. If you want to, try out some different recipes and stuff, I could send you that for sure.
Yeah, that would be a nice YouTube topic, but if you want to send it directly to me, I'm gonna appreciate it.
I feel like my kitchen isn't pretty enough to make cooking videos. I think like that's why I stray from making videos at home a lot, because like you go on YouTube and like you see all these people in these nice offices or they're in their bedroom and they have like these nice backgrounds with lights and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I look at my place and I'm like, it's not ugly, but like it's not that pretty either. It's not on that level.
It's not where you want to be.
Yeah, so like I try to make my videos outside, doing adventure stuff. Of course, this pandemic has kind of made me switch up my style a little bit. So I started doing the story time videos, which I can do at home since I can't really go outside to do the adventure stuff that I'm used to.
I actually like the story time because I can put down my phone and do something while the video is playing and just listen to the story,
I get that. That's why I also wanted to do the podcast too, for stuff like that you could put down your phone while you're washing dishes, or maybe you're cleaning your room, and then you could just listen to people, and especially like people that I find interesting. Like I find you very interesting, which is one of the reasons why I wanted you to be a guest, because not only have you been Miss World BVI, you also bilingual. So like I find that very interesting. The fact that you can speak 2 languages, that blows my mind, because I barely understand English as it is, and that's my main language.
I don't know how that's very impressive, because Spanish is so easy to me. And I recommend everybody to learn Spanish.
I would love to learn Spanish. And like I have learned a few words, but like I learned from like going to Spanish bars, and I learned like a lot of naughty stuff.
No, but that's fine too. That's communication. That's fine.
Yeah, but versus like useful stuff, I've learned like a lot of naughty stuff instead. But like I find the fact that like, because you speak Spanish fluently, like I think Spanish was your first language, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
And you're so good with English still at the same time. So like the fact that you basically like mastered both languages, that's amazing.
Why, thank you.
So how old were you when you moved to the BVI, or did you always grow up in the BVI?
I finished growing up in BVI, but I grew up in the Dominican Republic.
So how old were you when you moved?
I was 10, 1 month away from 11.
What was it like growing up in the Dominican Republic versus what do you think it would have been like growing up in the BVI instead? Like those first 10, well, almost 11 years. If you had grown up in the BVI versus growing up in the Dominican Republic, like how would you compare the two differences?
Okay, first of all, before traveling anywhere, that's when I was like a little child. You know, as a child, you have imagination and you dream of, the places on the TV and everything. So I thought outside of where I lived would have been like this magical land. Yeah, so I thought everything would have been like on the TV.
So did you do any traveling a lot when you were younger before you moved, or?
Not outside of the Dominican, actually. This is the first place I ever traveled to.
Okay.
So when I came here, it was really surreal. One, because of the language barrier, and it's like being lost all the time. And up to like second form, so basically 4 years being on Tatola, I was still kind of lost. That's when I started picking up English better.
Okay.
Yeah, and I still have a nickname that they gave me. You wouldn't guess. They gave me this nickname because I was like always lost, like all the time lost, and some people still call me to this day Bubbles.
Bubbles?
From the Powerpuff Girls, because she was always like clueless.
Yeah, I get that.
No, yeah. I used to be embarrassed for it, but it's who you are, so the name stuck with me. Mm-hmm. But after like in Fit Farm, I kind of opened up a bit more, and that's when I joined my first pageant. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of like a burst of confidence. Like it was just learning new things and trying out things, and it's like, wow, this is what being out there is like. So it's like I wanted to try more and just explore what I can do and what I cannot do.
So that first pageant that you joined, which one was that?
That was Misfit Farm.
Misfit Farm. Okay. And did you end up winning or no?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah? So that was the first pageant you had ever joined, and you won.
Mm-hmm. I really wanted to win. Like from the beginning of the year, mm-hmm. The reason I joined it was because I thought I really would have missed high school, so I said to myself, I really have to do something that I'm gonna remember forever. So I started preparing from early. I was very excited for it.
What year was this?
In 2014.
2014. So okay, you graduated a year before me. So, mm-hmm. So you said you wanted to do it because you thought you would miss high school. Do you miss high school at all?
Do I miss high school? I miss the freshness. I miss all the opportunities that I could have had. I don't regret anything for sure, but it's like knowing better. Mm-hmm. It's like I would have paid attention more in class, maybe get better grades. I was a great student, but like I was not the best student. Mm-hmm. So that's what I miss about high school: the freshness, the possibilities.
I get that, because I remember when I was in high school, my teachers would always say, enjoy this while you have it. You so rushing to try and get out, and when you get out, you're gonna miss it. And I can honestly say, like, because I graduated 2015. So that's 5 years ago. I can honestly say I have never, not one day in my life, missed any days of high school.
Really?
Yeah, I hated high school with such a passion. And I was a nerd. I was a straight A student. I graduated like number 25 in the BVI. like out of the 300 plus.
For your class? For your year?
For the year, yeah. So I graduated number 25.
Wow.
That was like including the whole BVI, so like Vajangara, Tatola, everything. And I could have graduated a lot higher, but in my last 2 years, I started to like relax a little bit. Like I didn't care about the grades or anything. That's like basically that's what I'm talking about. How to start looking woman.
You see, that's what I miss. That's what I mean by like the freshness. If I knew now, if I knew then what I know now, I would have maybe pay more attention. Like you said, you would have probably get better grades, and you were already a good student.
Yeah, and I graduated number 6 in English out of the whole territory also.
That's why you have so many like ideas for YouTube and those things.
Maybe, probably. But I mean, yeah. I was like this huge nerd. I was like into computers and stuff, all the different gadgets and stuff, which is why I love technology now.
I hated computer.
I hated it too in a way because my mother was a teacher. And I was also the only person in my grade that took IT. Everybody else did technical drawing. So I was the only...
Okay. I did technical drawing.
I was the only person in my mother's class for IT. So it would just be me and her.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But I used to use the time to sleep most of the time though, because she already knew I knew what I was doing. So she would use the time to like correct tests or something or do lesson plans or something. And I would just like sleep the whole class majority of the time.
So you shouldn't complain because it was better on the both of you?
In a sense. Because like when I was in Farm 1, I used to, like if I had a free period, which I had a lot of, because when I went into Farm 1, we didn't have a science teacher, we didn't have a PE teacher, and we didn't have a music teacher. So I had like a Wednesday, and a Wednesday afternoon, I literally had like no classes. So I would go to her class, and I would teach her 5th form classes for her while she was doing some other kind of work.
Wow.
But like, so like I was this huge nerd, but I hated school, and I couldn't wait to get out. And to this day, I don't miss school, and that's probably one of the reasons I think I didn't go to college either, because I just decided like if I do anything with my life again, I do not want to have to sit back down in a classroom. Like I just wanted to avoid a classroom at all costs. And I felt like because my school wasn't the best school and we had pretty shitty teachers, so I taught myself a lot of what I know. So like I pretty much grew up teaching myself. So I figured like I don't need college. If I need to know something, I'll just teach myself. And that's pretty much how I've gotten this far. Like in
I figured out more.
Yeah, in terms of like the filming and even like doing this podcast and stuff, like I taught myself all this stuff. So like I just felt like college just wasn't for me.
I feel like once you have a set goal of what it is that you want to do, you can achieve it, because it's like whether you go to college or not, you can do anything. You want to be a musician, go learn to make beats on YouTube. You want to be an artist, and some people might say, well, if you can learn anything on YouTube, then everybody would be doing everything. But that's not the case, because even though you want to do so many things, you cannot. You just simply cannot, because time is finite for us.
Well, not even that. It's just not everyone learns the same also.
Exactly.
Because some people may be able to go on YouTube or Google and figure something out and teach themselves, but some people may also need to be in a classroom. Some people I know can't like watch a video and learn something, but they can read a book on how to do it and then they learn it instead. Like everybody learns differently.
I agree.
Yeah. So like I remember when I decided not to go to college, I used to preach to everybody, college is a waste of time. You don't need this, you don't need that. But I mean, I was young then. Now I realize when people, because a lot of people even now still ask me if I went to college, and when I tell them no, they ask me why not and this. And I said, well, my reasons may not be suitable for you. You need to look at what you want to do with the rest of your life first.
And whatever people choose, that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I used to think like some people make the wrong choices, but now I realize that's not the case. It's like everybody has to do their own path for what they want to do in their life. Like I used to preach, like the reason I didn't want to go to college also is because I felt like going to college was to get a degree, to get a good job, and that's not what I wanted in my life. I don't want to work a job for the rest of my life. I want to work for myself, and I want to do what makes me happy for the rest of my life.
And what's important,
Mm-hmm.
sorry to
No,
cut
go
you
ahead.
off, what's important is that you're starting now.
Yeah.
As time progresses and you keep doing it, your craft just keeps getting better and better, and you're better off than, like, you're in college right now is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
You're not in an actual college, but figuratively, you're in your own college. You're learning.
But like I was saying too, like for me, that was my path because you don't need a degree to work for yourself or to start a business, right? But for somebody who
Right.
wants to be a doctor or a lawyer or something to that effect, then of course you have to go to school for that, whether it's law school or medical school or whatever may be the case. So like I always tell people when they ask me that, I ask them, well, what do you want to do with your life? Do you want to be a chef? Then you should probably go to culinary school, or if not culinary school, then train under a chef, or like there's different ways too. It doesn't have to like the answer doesn't have to be school or college. There's trade schools. You can become an apprentice to somebody in the field that you want to get in, because I think a lot of businesses or corporations probably value experience a lot more than they value a degree.
Oh yeah. But you know what that made me think about? Like, you wanted to be a pilot,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'd be mad. Like, if this is your pilot speaking, I earned my wings playing whatever video game.
But that's how you do it, though. You know that, right?
What you call the aircraft simulation?
Flight simulator. But that's how pilots are trained. Before you go in a real plane, they start you on the simulator first. The simulator is
wow.
It's not. I don't like when people call it a game, because it's not a game. It's a real life simulator, and that's what they train you on to prepare you to become a pilot.
Before you fly the actual plane?
Yeah, and even in a lot of cases when you are a pilot, you've already done your test, whatever, you're an airline pilot, so you fly in the big jets. When they bring out a new upgrade to the jet, for example, when Boeing brought out the 737 MAX, the new ones that were crashing last year or the year before, when they brought those planes out, they didn't give any of the pilots any real life training. All those pilots that were flying those new planes were all trained on iPads.
Damn.
Yeah, so like a lot of training that you do to be a pilot, a lot of it is done on computers and in simulators.
Okay, well that's news to me.
But flying a plane is not as hard as a lot of people think. Like, I haven't had any formal training, but my cousins, they own an airline and I work at the airport. So I've been able to, like, they've taught me how to fly. So like, I'm not licensed or anything, but I'm comfortable enough that if I'm in a plane and something happens to the pilot, whether they catch a heart attack or a stroke or something, and then somebody screams, "Oh my God, can anybody here fly a plane?" Like, I'm gonna raise my hand and be like, yeah, this is me. This is the moment I've been waiting for. Like, I'm confident enough that maybe a few people might have some neck injuries because the landing might be a little bumpy.
Hopefully, yeah.
But
we'll live.
I'm gonna get us on the ground safely. Like, we can live.
Well, that's a great skill to know. I think if you can get yourself sometime in your life, if you can get your, I don't know, your flying certificate or however that works, that'd be great for you.
Oh, I still plan on doing it, but the finances, though, it's very expensive. That's the only problem. Yeah, definitely. The one thing that has changed, like, I still want to become a pilot, but I don't want to be a commercial pilot anymore. I just want to get my private license because I want to buy my own plane, and I want to be able to say, I feel like going to the Bahamas today, and just like pick up my plane and just fly to the Bahamas because I feel like it.
Why? That's still scary to me. To say I get enough, I'm flying my plane.
You can actually get a decent plane for as cheap as how much a luxury car would cost. Like, planes are not as expensive as you would think.
You just said as cheap as a luxury car. That's probably that's pretty pricey.
No, it's not. Like, like the cheapest Tesla is about $30,000, right? You could get a plane.
Oh, word?
Yeah, the cheapest Tesla is like $30,000. You could get a plane like a really good decent plane for like 10,000 more. So like you could get a decent single engine plane for like $40,000 easy, maybe cheaper. I know somebody who got a plane for like $10,000.
You're like maybe like 20 YouTube videos away from getting your own plane.
I wish it was that little bit. I wish.
I'm just talking, but that would be cool.
It would be so cool. Yeah, but I would love to have a plane. Okay, so like you mentioned architecture just now. So I know you are. What is your exact position? I know you do something in architecture, but I don't know exactly what it is.
Well, it's called drafting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, drafting is drawing.
Okay.
Drawing on the computer, on a program. Well, I draw on a program named Revit. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
The only program I know about architecture is probably AutoCAD because I played around with it a few times.
In school, yeah, that's what they teach you, I think, at the beginning.
I have a very small general understanding of how it works. Definitely not a professional or anything at it.
I think most people can agree that AutoCAD is one of the most straightforward because you can draw line by line, and I actually recommend it because if you can learn to draw in AutoCAD, it means that you have an understanding of drawing detailed. So that's that. The one I draw in is Revit. Now Revit is a bit more complicated, but once you get the hang of it, you can draw pretty complex projects.
So for example, in my case, that would be like moving from Paint to Photoshop.
Yeah, but can you even do the same thing in Paint and Photoshop?
Not exactly, because, well, no.
You see, that's two different things. But I see what you mean, like the level of complexity.
Yeah.
Yeah. We actually also use Photoshop in architecture.
Really? So how well would you say you understand Photoshop?
Very basic, just what we need. So for example, if you have a building, you already did your building and you need it against a natural background to make it look like it's realistic, you basically can just copy and paste it into Photoshop. I think they're really compatible.
So pretty simple functions you basically need out of it.
Out of Photoshop, yes. I can't like take your picture and make you look like, you know, like Chris Brown or like Drake, but very basic.
Fair enough. So basically, what you do with the architecture stuff is like, if I want to build a house, I just come to you to get like the plans and stuff drawn out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So how would you say your work has been affected by COVID? Like, I would assume not too many people trying to build houses right now.
Actually, not so much, because like you can have a project since before COVID. I've gotten projects after COVID. I mean, since COVID started. So, because people are not gonna think, oh my God, a pandemic, I'm not gonna have a house to live anymore. I don't want to build a house. So you'd be surprised, because construction is still going on in many places. As long as the bank is there, because most people don't build from their pockets anyway.
Fair enough.
Right.
So you wouldn't say like it's had any huge effect on your industry then?
There probably is some type of effect, but not so much for me, because I'm not like this big architect, you know. I'm not on that scale, so I can't expound on that.
Okay then. So I know, like, because I asked because a lot of people obviously like have lost their jobs, or their jobs have cut their pay. Like, for example, like my job, our pay has been cut by just about half since July. Yeah, since July.
Yeah.
So like I pretty much am like making like minimum wage, which is barely livable, especially when you have a baby.
Yo, I think about that all the time, especially because our islands are like, we get our income, we get a lot of our income from tourism. That's a really big pillar.
Yeah, about
So I was saying,
40%.
right? That's huge. That's huge. And to just put a halt on it like that. What I'm seeing, because a lot of places are learning how to work with COVID, because we can't lock down forever. We can't just sit there and starve. Someone was saying something about long-term tourism.
So like similar to like places
Sorry?
like what? Similar to like what Barbados and like St. Lucia and those places are trying to do?
That's the first place that the person named, Barbados, that they're doing long-term tourism, and I think we should really take a look at that.
I have problems with that, actually.
Why?
Because, okay, like, let me, like, to explain to the listeners that probably might not know what we're talking about. So, like, the long-term tourism plan is basically, you basically, like, selling citizenship to tourists, and you're inviting them to come and live in the country for an extended period of time, because everyone is basically working remotely, working from home, doing everything on a computer. So that means they can work from anywhere in the world. So you can, like, for example, some countries, you may only be allowed to enter the country for a certain amount of months, and then you have to leave. But what this new long-term tourism thing is, you're basically charging them an extra fee, and you let them stay in the country for like a year, 2 years, that type of thing.
Well, I think we are already kind of having an issue with that, yeah.
Yeah, the reason I have a problem with it is because these people already, in a sense, trying to take over and buy as much as they can. They want to buy our land, and racism is a really big problem in the world. And colonialism is a really big problem in the world. It's when all these people want to come in and they're going to, it's like short-term gain, but long-term it's gonna hurt you, definitely. Because if you sell out all the land and you give all these opportunities and stuff to all these people because they have some money, then the locals going to suffer because ain't got no land left for us. And then when you sell the land to them, they're going to bring in their friends, and then their friends going to buy more land, and then eventually it's like basically like I think it was gentrification. Like they basically, like, they take one area and they turn it into theirs. For example, an example is like if you look at Brooklyn or like the Bronx in New York. For a long time, Brooklyn and the Bronx was known as like predominantly black neighborhoods. And they were like, in a sense, like dangerous places to go. Like if you hear like how rappers talk about Brooklyn in songs, you would be scared to go to Brooklyn. Like I have a cousin who lives in Brooklyn, and like if you would hear how he would talk about Brooklyn, like even when I was in Brooklyn, I was only there for like a weekend stuff, and like within like the first week, I saw like the ice cream truck getting robbed when me and my cousins were going to go buy ice cream.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. When I was in the Bronx, me and my other cousin, we got hold at gunpoint and they robbed his Beats. He had just buy some brand new Beats, some purple Beats. So like, but now these places have been gentrified. I think that's the word. And basically it's like a bunch of white people or rich people, whoever, they come in and they buy up all the properties and they like turn it into the suburbs. But now there's no place for the black people to be anymore. The black people don't own anything anymore. Now all white people own all the buildings. So now the black people that once owned this building, they still living in the building, but now I have to pay this white person rent.
I think we ourselves should strive for being successful ourselves.
Yeah.
So that we can own what is ours. And imagine how I say that, because it's ours, but we don't own it.
Exactly, and ownership is the most important thing. So like I feel like these long-term tourism plans would kind of open up the doors for all of that other stuff to start to happen.
maybe if we think about long-term tourism as within the period it takes to be in the island. So let's say not more than 6 months, just for example. Nothing longer than that, but at the same time, not shorter than a month. Just enough time to get quarantined the 2 weeks and then
I
enjoy.
think that's what our laws are already like. I think you already have up to 6 months to be in the BVI.
No, exactly. So you won't be allowed to stay longer than that. So why would you need citizenship?
But I mean, that's already the laws. That's what our laws have always been. So in terms of if you wanted to do a long-term tourism plan, you would have to create a new law, and then you would obviously have to make it more attractive, because if you said, well, you're allowed to come in for 6 months, they're going to be like, well, we could have already done that anyways. So how is that attractive to us to want to come back to the BVI?
Oh, then we don't need to change any laws then. I just mean when we open up, that's what we're opening up for. So basically saying that we are open to the outside, but just for the long-term tourists.
Maybe it could work, but I mean, like a lot of people, like I have a lot of tourist friends that have been dying to come back to the BVI. They message me all the time. They like when we watching the government lives to see the COVID updates, they in the live watching it too, because they wait
Also, right?
they literally have their finger by their laptop, waiting to press buy to confirm their plane tickets for when they could come back to the BVI. So I would really love to see the BVI open back up, because it has people that want to come, and the longer we stay closed, these people are just going to find somewhere else to go.
That's sad for us.
Yeah, I want to talk about your the Miss BVI experience, and what was it like winning the pageant, and what was the experience going to China and actually competing for Miss World and all of that stuff.
Okay, awesome. So I must say, I was saying, when you win a pageant, there's a level of excitement because you ever made a birthday and everybody just wishing you happy birthday and what's not, and you're kind of like on the spotlight for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like that. Winning a pageant is like that, but like on a bigger scale, because now you are in everybody's business. You're everybody's business for like a week. So that's exciting. That's very exciting. When I won Miss World BVI, however, there was a level of, I don't want to say a level of pressure, but a level of responsibility. That was the word, because now, I would be flying out of the country, and now it's like, oh man, if you feel that just being out there in the world competing against all the other countries in the world, and you just feeling like you're a piece of the whole scheme, that's a surreal feeling. So I felt that level of responsibility. I felt like I was carrying the BVI on my back, and I can honestly say that I did my best.
Yeah, you did.
Even
you did
though
wonderful.
I didn't know everything, but thank you so much. Thank you. So, also you kind of birth a level of patriotism and pride when you do that, because, for example, I was with over 100 girls, right? And it's like, how do you stand out? How do you stand with all these different girls, all these girls with beautiful bodies, beautiful hair, beautiful skin? How do you stand out? So that's when you realize that your country has your back. That's when you realize that you have to kind of like go back to your roots and see how you're different from the rest of the world. And that's how you portray who you are. The BVI is who you are, and nobody can take that away from you. So that's what being Miss World BVI was like for me. I was very pro BVI at that time.
You said at that time like you're not very pro BVI right now.
I will always be pro BVI, but at that time I was specifically pro BVI because I am dual citizen. I'm also Dominican. And no matter what I do, I could never say that I'm not also Dominican.
I understand.
So at that time I was very much pro BVI. And being a dual citizen is something to be really proud of as well, because this whole world is a melting pot. And when I went, for example, I remember on I don't know if it was on Vino or BVI News, that they were singing, but she's Spanish, and they were trying to justify that I'm not from here and what's
Yeah, BVI people tend to be like that.
But but that kind of thing excites me. Anything that just breeds a topic of conversation, that excites me.
So you don't you don't really take all that as a negative. You kind of use it as like an inspiration type of thing.
Yeah.
I admire that. I'm pretty much the same way, that way too.
Yeah, and I mean, I wasn't doing anything wrong. It's my birthright, being Dominican and then having BVI heritage.
I totally relate to that because, like, as you know already, like I was born in Canada, but my mom is also from Barbados, so I pretty much have like triple citizenship, quadruple if you count the UK.
Wow. So yeah, being in the BVI and being like Dominican and West Time, people trying to justify why you shouldn't be the queen, yada yada. Now, in the actual pageant with all these girls, I had this one girl from Portugal, but her mom was from Colombia or something. So she was Portuguese. Her language is Portuguese, but she's speaking Spanish.
Nice.
So I relate to her because I'm representing this English speaking country, which is the BVI, but I'm speaking Spanish. I was friend with all of the South American girls.
That's great.
And that was my advantage. So if you do post this podcast or some of it, I just want everybody to know that once you have BVI heritage and you're proud to represent the BVI, you should always do so without neglecting all of where you're from.
That's a great message. All right, so I think we covered a good bit of topics for now, and I can always have you back on the podcast again in the future. So is there any like social media plugs that you want to plug in real quick? Like, where can the people find you? Where they can follow you?
So my name is Yadali, but it's spelled Yadali. You can find me at all social medias as that. Some might have like an extra 2 letters for my last name, but that's fine. But everywhere you can find me as Yadali. Anything else? My birthday was yesterday.
Oh yes, happy birthday! I forgot to mention that I wanted to wish you happy birthday on the podcast.
Thank you, love.
So happy birthday! How old have you been now? I know you're older than me.
Listen to me. I googled myself earlier in the year, and they had done tell me that I was 24 years old. So I was like, okay, Google no better. But I actually want to stop saying my age, but apparently I can't because there's.
Well, I mean, you can't. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. It's no problem.
I don't know who put it up. I don't know. Like somebody made a Wikipedia page and it's all over the internet.
Fair enough.
So, I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. So, yeah, I'm 24 years old.
And I made 21 this year.
Oh my God, Bunchi, you still young?
Yeah, I'm a baby. A baby that has a baby.
No, that's fine. You're all right.
Oh, so while we're talking about babies, any plans for kids in the future? Do you want kids?
Yes, definitely. In the near future, Probably not. But if it happens, if it happens, it's the will of God, and him or her will be welcome.
So, like, what would be your ideal situation? Like, how many kids? All boys, all girls, a mix? What would you prefer?
I definitely want a girl because I want to teach her the things that I know.
Mm-hmm.
And I also love boys. I think boys need love as well. Teach boys how to be men. If I can do that.
So you would want like one of each?
I would have as many as, until my body still looks good.
Fair enough. I personally think my shop is closed. I don't think I want any more, at least not anytime soon. Like, maybe in like 10 years I might change my mind, but right now I'm good.
For now. And you started young, so you have time.
I mean, I always wanted to start young though. Like I on purposely did that because I didn't want to be like 40 years old with a 10-year-old child and they want to go outside and play catch and my back hurting and I can't run up and down with them. Like, I wanted to be young that I could experience things with my child and be able to have fun with my child as much as I can.
Well, maybe they'll keep you young.
Maybe. People say that, but I don't know. I don't know if I believe it. I mean, I'm 21 and I already feel like I'm 50. Like, my back already be killing me. My don't got knee problems, all kind of stuff already, so I don't know.
Yeah, I can't even lay down and watch Netflix after 10 o'clock.
Oh, it's horrible.
Netflix don't watch me.
It's horrible. Like, I'd be asleep by like 8:30 sometimes. Like, if I don't have nothing to do, I might be asleep by like 7.
A fact.
And I think something that's really bad for our generation, because we grew up with all this technology, the phones, the iPads, laptops and stuff. I notice now, like, my eyes are dramatically getting worse and worse and worse.
Like, yeah. That's definitely the screens.
At like such a young age. Like, I remember, like, I could see so far away, I could read so far away. And like now, like, I remember, like, I went to go renew my driver's license. And when the woman tell me read the line, I say, Miss, I don't know what kind of scribbles you put in front of me, but them thing ain't letters.
Right. Right.
It's horrible.
And oh boy.
Okay, so I got one more question before you, and then we're done.
Okay.
So recently, my iPhone broke, right? So I went without a phone for about 3 days. And I just got this Samsung yesterday. I hate Android, but it's
Oh my god, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah, it sucks. I'm just using it temporarily because I felt like it didn't make sense to buy a new iPhone right now because the new one is coming out next month. So I said I'll just wait until the new one comes out next month. But within these 3 days, I realized how much my life depends on technology. And like, for example, like I had to like run my business and like doing like my graphic design and stuff. Like I would send pictures from my phone to my laptop and then back to the phone to send to the client. Like it just made life so much easier. So my question for you is, how, like, do you think technology, like, do you think like we as humans, especially in our generation, we have become way too dependent on technology?
For most parts, definitely. Like, we can do so many things without technology if we choose to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, I'm just trying to detach myself from using the microwave and use it as little as possible, stuff like that. But for example, my phone also, like the new update or something, and it crashed last week, and then all my pictures deleted, and I cried like I lost a family member because it was like over 20,000 pics and videos and blogs.
That's a lot.
Right. And I was like, I have to get this phone fixed, and then I only spent like 6 hours with the phone like that.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was asking, where are you and why you're not answering, and and then videos and promotions. Yep.
Cell phones not even that old of technology. Like cell phones pretty much a new technology. I wouldn't say cell phones older than 30 years old. So like, what did people do before they had cell phones? Because like I said, I was without my cell phone for 3 days. You were without yours for like 6 hours. And it's like the world like pretty much stops.
I think we're addicted to the efficiency. Like, you can get so many things done.
Exactly.
Back then, if I wanted to talk to you, I would have to either catch a boat or drive to Eastern, or like in my father days, my father say he done walk east to western already, and I cannot imagine that for myself.
Listen, I don't even be able to walk from my house to the street.
That's just sad, Gucci.
Listen, when I taking out the garbage, I literally put the garbage on my bike to go from my house, my apartment door, to the street to drop off the garbage.
We definitely need to detach a little bit.
I think so. I think this has really shown me that my life is way too dependent on technology. And like you said, it's the efficiency.
Mm-hmm. We're addicted to it.
Yeah, even now I have the Samsung, so I have backup phone. It's not nearly as efficient as the iPhone, and I miss my iPhone so much.
No, because I imagine you want to video stuff and vlog things.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I have my vlog camera, so that's not a problem. But
okay,
something so simple that I didn't know I would miss so much is AirDrop.
Oh, talk about keeping the quality of a pic.
Yeah, AirDrop, and not just that, the speed. Like, I could design something on my laptop right now or edit a picture right now on my laptop and then just, boom, AirDrop it straight to my phone. In 2 seconds, it's there.
Ooh, hallelujah.
Now with the Samsung, I have to, like, plug in all kind of wires. And, like, it takes, like, 5 minutes, which isn't really a long time. But, like, I'm over here whining because I missed my little 2-second AirDrop. I think it's crazy. But anyways, we ran over a little bit over your hour. So I just want to thank you for being the first guest on the podcast. You were an excellent guest.
Thank you.
And okay, so before you go, do you have any like future projects or anything that you're working on? You have your vlog channel. Do you have like anything special coming up that you want to share?
I'm just gonna remind people my name is Yadali, guys, and it's spelled Yadali. You can find me across all social medias except for Twitter, because I'm not very Twitter savvy. So that's Yadali across all social medias.
Yeah, don't join Twitter if you don't have to. It is very savage over there.
I have a Twitter. It's just like, I don't get it.
Listen, people talk about Facebook is toxic. Facebook might be toxic, but Twitter is miserable. Everybody on Twitter is so miserable. All they do is complain about everything all day and talk shit about other people without mentioning who the people are. It sucks. Like, Twitter is like the height of negativity. Yeah. So anyways, thank you again for being on the podcast.
You're welcome. I don't know how to leave, so you're going to have to. Oh, I see.
Well, it says like leave session. I'm just going to stop recording and then, yeah. Well, folks, this is the end. And if you made it this far, man, do I appreciate it. Isn't Yadali something? I just wanted to let you guys know that I'll be uploading a new podcast every single Monday with brand new guests every time, people that I find interesting, that I want to have a conversation with, that I have questions for, that I want to learn more about, and people that I think you might be interested in learning more about also. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for making it this far. And I hope you'll be back again next Monday. Stay safe. Peace out.